Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast that will help you answer the door no matter who comes knocking. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, your spirit medium and a teller of ghost stories. Tonight, we step into one of the most unsettling corners of modern folklore, black-eyed kids. Children who appear on dark doorsteps or empty roads asking for help. At first, they may seem ordinary, but witnesses all describe the same impossible detail, eyes as black as midnight, and a presence that will chill you before a single word is spoken. So settle in as I share a collection of encounters with these mysterious wanderers. And when the last knock fades into silence, as your medium, I invite you for something more spiritual. Join me at my séance table for a message from the spirits. Could this connection with the departed be specifically for you? Linger near and find out. But first, the spooky. Don't answer the door. The tales of the black-eyed kids are starting right now. I woke up to my dog, Lucy, barking. She was upright on the bed where my husband and I were sleeping. I thought she was just freaking out over house noise. We'd only had her for 3 months, and she was still a puppy. I wasn't too concerned with her barking initially. It could have been anything. I decided the best bet would be to open the bedroom door and show her that nothing was there. I opened the door and she raced to the front room. She stood there snarling at the front door. It was an angry, violent growl, one I had never heard her make before. I looked groggily at her and planned to open the front door in the same way and show her everything was okay. The second my hand reached for the deadbolt, Lucy went wild. She started barking and jumping towards me, and when I touched the metal, she suddenly changed her temper. She whimpered like she was afraid. As her mannerisms changed, so did mine. I wasn't calm anymore. My heart was racing and sinking at the same time. I was being flooded with a mixture of fear and dread. I looked through the peephole, and outside were 2 kids. One was just a little bit shorter than me and didn't look much younger. I'm 21, and she looked to be 16 or 17. She was slender and pale. Her hair was a light shade of honey blonde, and she wore it long with thin, blunt bangs that covered most of her eyes. She wore jeans and a thin-looking pullover-style hoodie. She was holding the hand of a small girl who looked to be around 3 or 4. She held a stuffed toy under her free arm, and it was identical to the one my daughter has. If it had not been for the feeling of overwhelming dread and fear, I probably would have asked these children to come in and give them some hot chocolate to get them out of the cold. But something about them seemed off. At this point, I hadn't made any noise. I hadn't shushed the dog or grumbled. I hadn't turned on any lights. These kids had no indicators I was at the door. And then, the older one spoke. She had a voice that was monotone. She held her head tilted downward and she said, "We have to use your phone." I stood frozen in fear. How did she know I was even there? She raised her head to face me directly, and that was when I saw her eyes. They were black. They were otherworldly. She spoke again. "Our mother is worried." As someone who has always been interested in creepy stories, I knew what she was the second she looked at me. I've never been one to believe in these things, though. As an atheist and a skeptic, when it comes to the paranormal, I had written off many a ghost story from friends and family members eager to share an experience. I didn't believe it. Still, I couldn't rationalize my way out of this. I was standing with nothing but a thin wooden door between me and a black-eyed kid. There was no questioning what was right in front of me. I didn't answer her. Slowly and silently, I backed away from the door, Lucy still cowering at my ankles. I heard her again. "Just let us in to use the phone." When I took that second step back, she became commanding, almost hostile. "We're not going to hurt you. May we come in and use your phone?" Lucy snarled at the door and I inched backwards, though something inside me seemed to be slowly pulling me back towards the door. It wasn't physically pulling so much as a subconscious need to go back and let them in. I went back to my room, closed the small gap in our curtains, locked the door, and sat there in the dim light of the nightlight. I heard her call me back to the door once more, and then quiet. I didn't go back to sleep that night, and I haven't slept right since. I know from reading about them that black-eyed kids can't come in without permission. When I told my husband, he keeps telling me to forget about it, that I must have been dreaming. But this lingering feeling of sadness, this dread when the house is silent at night, this fear of a knock at the door, all of this tells me it wasn't a dream. It was the winter of 2001, a night so still my father could hear the faint buzz of the streetlight through the double-paned windows. He had been sorting bills at the kitchen table when a slow knock echoed through the house. 3 sharp raps at the front door. He wasn't expecting anyone. The neighborhood was quiet. The house was tucked far from the main road, and it was well past 10 p.m. He moved to the front door, each floorboard creaking a little too loudly under his weight. Through the door's peephole, he saw a boy, small, maybe 5 years old, standing perfectly centered on the porch. The child's clothes were neat but plain, a dark jacket zipped up to the chin, shoes scuffed. Nothing strange at first glance. He wasn't shivering, no tears. My dad's first thought was the boy must have wandered from one of the houses down the block. He leaned closer to the peephole, ready to ask if the child was lost. And then the boy raised his face. The eyes that met the peephole were pure black. Not dark brown, not a shadow, black from edge to edge, as if the pupil had swallowed everything. His gaze locked straight into my father's gaze. My father jerked back instinctively, heart hammering. No one should be able to see through the other side of that lens. A second knock came, softer but perfectly paced. A small, steady voice drifted through the door, too calm for a child in distress. He said he had lost his mother and needed to use the telephone. My father stood frozen, the kitchen light behind him casting long shadows across the hallway. He didn't answer. Another pause, another knock. The boy asked, still politely, if he could come inside to check for a phone. Each word carried a weight that made the silence afterward feel heavier. My father stayed motionless, barely breathing. He told me later that the air in the room felt charged, as though a storm was building just outside. Minutes passed. Finally, there was a faint sound of footsteps on the porch, slow and deliberate, fading towards the street. When my dad finally opened the door a crack, the night was empty. No sign of the child on the sidewalk or down the road. The streetlight hummed steadily, casting a pale circle on the pavement. For the rest of the night, my father sat awake in the living room, lights on, every sound magnified in the stillness. He never saw the boy again. I work security, the overnight shift at a small office park. Just me, a bank of monitors, and the hum of fluorescent lights. It's dull most nights, which is exactly how I like it. Around 2 a.m., a motion alert chimed. Camera 4, the north entrance. I nearly brushed it off as another stray cat as I glanced up, but the screen showed 2 children standing at the glass doors. They were motionless, side by side, as if they had been posed there. Something about them tightened the air in the room. Their clothes were ordinary, jackets zipped, shoes dry despite the drizzle outside, but they didn't fidget or shift their weight. They just stared at the door. I toggled to camera 3 for a different angle. Empty. Nothing but the wet sidewalk. Back to camera 4. There they were, perfectly framed. The same blank expressions. I leaned in closer. The grainy feed showed eyes that looked too dark, too flat, like the camera had failed to capture any reflection. Uneasily, I cycled through the other cameras again. South entrance, empty. Loading dock, empty. Then back to camera 4. Gone. I scanned every feed and reviewed the recording. One moment, they were there. The next frame, nothing. No retreat, no blur of movement, just the empty doorway and the rain. For a moment, I sat frozen, the low hum of the computer suddenly deafening. Eventually, I forced myself to do the usual checks, logged the incident, noted the time, but my handwriting was shaky. I never saw them again, but every time the motion alert chimes, I feel that same tightness in my chest, as if those 2 figures were still out there, waiting for the next time I look.
Big news! Sephora is now on Uber Eats. So if you find yourself facing a beauty emergency, like needing a last-minute gift, or you're just out of your favorite mascara, again, don't panic. We got you. Order now and get $10 off on Sephora orders of $50 or more on the Uber Eats app. Order now. Offer ends October 30th. One order per customer. Additional terms apply. See app for availability. Delivery fees may apply.
Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. Thank you for lingering with me here at my séance table. Let's open the space for a spirit to come close for someone listening to the podcast. As I do spirit work here, I like to bring in components that aid me in my work. Tonight I have with me obsidian and the herb wormwood. Obsidian is a wonderful black stone that helps buffer bad energy, repel negativity. It's a really lovely protective stone. And wormwood is traditionally used in spirit work and spirit communication. I'm going to clear my mind, blend with the energy, call a spirit close. I have with me a man this evening. He is describing himself as friend, brother, but this feels like he was your partner. He immediately wants to talk about how incredibly smart you are and how you know yourself and you know how to command a room. And he's like, I don't want to get in trouble for calling her a workaholic, but she's very dedicated and she's really good at her job. And then he's immediately coming in with, I really want her to rest. I really want her to take a break, not because of burnout necessarily. It feels more like you deserve the downtime. You deserve to fill your life, some of the spaces, with leisurely, joyful activity. And yes, you enjoy your work, but you know, it's not the same. I'm like, okay. The important message, I'm honoring that for now, but tell me about you so that you can be recognized. I think he's just a gentle soul who doesn't want the spotlight, and that's part of his personality. Easygoing and content to sit back and observe rather than to drive events. But let me see if I can get him to. Okay, he's showing me drinking coffee on the back porch. He loved to do this. Looking out, it looks like a wooded area facing the backyard. He would love to drink his coffee and read there. He is all about the happy memories, holidays, dinners, laughter. He's showing me his bike, his tennis shoes that have 3 stripes on the side, kind of a bluish purple, like a faded bluish purple shoe. I see shoes a lot. I can't explain it. I think he was a therapist, a counselor. It meant a lot to him to help with this guidance for others. Okay. And he's sharing that he got sick. And that was incredibly hard for everyone. Okay. I want to see if he has any other messages for you. He thinks you're brilliant and you're going to continue to be amazingly successful, and he's so proud of you. But yeah, he's saying make sure you take care of yourself and find that balance with working and leisure time. It's just incredibly important. And he's going to remind you, it sounds like he would remind you in life, that taking the downtime helps us be more productive. It is not counterproductive. It feels like he wants you to go on a trip, like you two had something planned, you know what it is, and he wants you to go. He wants you to do it. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's close the circle, say goodbye. I hope this message reaches you, and thank you for allowing me to do this for you, trusting me, and sharing this space with me. Thank you. And with that, dear listener, we've reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed my spirit work at the séance table this evening, and I also hope you enjoyed those chilling stories of black-eyed kids. Have you ever had an encounter with a obsidian-eyed child? I would love to hear it, so please reach out. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.
Fear Daily is a podcast that takes you into the shadows of the past, unearthing the 1990s most terrifying tales of monsters, madness, and life after death. Discovered on a forgotten bulletin board server somewhere in Pennsylvania's Rust Belt, these stories are an archive of humanity's strangest encounters with the unknown, as told by the people who experienced them. Written by Brennan Storr, creator of the Ghost Story Guys, and hosted by Brandon Scheck-Snyder of Southern Gothic, Fear Daily is your window into the dark corners of our world. Follow Fear Daily today on your favorite podcatcher to receive new episodes Monday through Friday, each and every week.
Hey everyone, I'm Erica.
And I'm Elizabeth.
We're sisters, wine lovers, and your hosts for the podcast Spirits Uncorked.
In Season 2, we're leaving the haunted waters of Lake Lanier in Georgia and diving into all new spooky stuff. Shadow people?
I've seen them.
Haunted military bases?
I've served on one.
Local restaurants with ghostly reputations?
I work at one.
Okay, if something spooky doesn't happen to you, I worry about you.
The paranormal is my normal.
Plus, we'll sip and chat with horror authors, fascinating guests, and test out some superstitions along the way.
Knock on wood.
So uncork a bottle and pour a glass of the paranormal with us on Season 2 of Spirits Uncorked.
Get ready for sips, scares, and sisterly sarcasm.